All right. Are we live? We should be live. Hello, everyone. Am I live? I hope I'm live. Oh, I do need to send a tweet. Is it live, though? I don't want to set it out. I'm not live. Okay, sorry. It was not refreshing. Hello. Can I? Oh, there we go. Okay, now I will send out the tweet. Thank you, Cornbread. Okay, first off, hello, welcome to the first Wednesday movie crap. How are you doing? It is live. Hello to, hold on, my old POS podcast friend, Paleo. I got it. Thank you, Paleo, for being here. I was thinking about POS. People don't talk about POS enough. That was a cool show. First podcast I went to a convention with, by the way. But hello, Zane Powers, Cornbread, Austin, Panavision. I'm glad you are here for a live show. Cornbread, Ashley R. How's it going? Sierra, Ramsey the artist. Oh fuck, I lost my place. K-Master, Purple Goop, Nathaniel Foga, Al Vasquez. I feel like I'm saying someone price. The Nerdification is here. I was going to go to their house and wake them up. Juan, Nadi, I don't know where you live. Don't worry. Nadinbox64, I wouldn't come to your house. Oh my God, there's so many people here. Zodberg, Javier Portello, Alva. This is touching. The Forest Porn episode is top tier. I gotta say, I'm actually very proud of that. I'm not joking. It was a good episode. I'm a PO. Thank you, St. Powers. All right, so I'm just gonna switch because hello, how's it going? This is gonna be a jam-packed show. There is so much news. There was gonna be a lot of news anyway because of the strike, and then like two major big movie news things popped up. Like today, which I sort of thought something would because it had been hinted at from various movie places, but I didn't think we were going to get as much. So I don't know if there'll be as much as the intro just so we can get through everything. But coincidentally, I finally saw all of The Bear, which is going to work out for me in the story that's going to come up. And we were rewatching Stranger Things. So it's like really worked out. Oh, very sad. Blacksy Oxen Winkle. Okay. Said very sad Kevin James wasn't the new Garfield SMH. Thank you. Okay, I'll reveal the thing. And I said, I'm pretty smart. I basically said something about how I'm smart. It was the point of this. Anyway, I was here at a hipster energy drink called Guru. I've never tried it, and I've seen it at my grocery store. So Ryan Walterson's here. Hello. So I always wanted to try it. And I saw it. So I would have gotten like a cooler one that you can get from basically a weed store that seems to have the cool ones, but I got this one. And I know there's a Slimer one. I might try to track that one down. But anyway, Awkward Time? Why is it an awkward time? I'm a little confused by that one. What? I'm confused by that, Cornbread. Elaborate. Anyway, yeah, it's Guru. I think people know this. Is it? I've just seen it in a few TikToks. Let's try it out. It's not that organic, although it claims to be. Since 99, I've never heard of you. Anyway, cheers to you, Bloxy Oxenwinkle Guru. Well, I will try it. I was thinking, actually, of Googling. I might try to find a Christmas energy drink. First off, where are we going to go? Okay. I don't really know. Is it Ninja approved? I mean, maybe. I want to say, I'm not, first off, I know there'll be a show on the 13th of December. I'm not sure when the next show will be. So I might just do a surprise stream the Sunday after Thanksgiving, but we'll see about that. But please follow me for more details on that. It's just because holidays and people coming up, and I'm sorry. But these are more shows than there used to be. So I feel like, but I know there'll be a show on the 13th of December. I just want to say that. All that. Hello, Shan talks more movies. All right, anything else big today was one of my bigger days on YouTube. I don't know about ever, but it's definitely up there because for some reason, despite everyone telling me they hate Brie Larson, particularly in the comments, this is like the biggest short I've ever had. And so it was crazy looking at the views today. Just insane. I did get a lot of, shitty, angry people comments about her. Although someone said, oh, cornbread, I know what you're talking about. Never mind. Anyway, I took me a minute. So yeah, but someone put, what was it? Like movies she should have been in. It's like should have been in prison, and I responded like, I mean, that's true of like literally everyone. Has the possibility of going to prison. I don't. Anyway, um, I tried to dethrone the trolls, but I'm also like, she's a good actress. I don't know. Although she needs to do like not blockbusters. I think that's been like her biggest flaw because she's much better in the indie movies. Anyway. I got to see the Marvels with my daughter. I took Sophie to the Marvels. I had a great time. I'll get into that more at the box office, but it was fun seeing it with her. You don't really need to know that much. Ms. Marvel is obviously great. That's the next review is the Marvels. I wanted to have it out Tuesday, but I was like, I talked too long. But she's a fucking, anyway, Brie Larson's a great actress, but my daughter had fun. We had a great night of it. I think part of it, I was thinking with the Marvel thing, we're all like talking about the Marvel stuff, and you can tell which superhero franchise is in trouble because they have a lot of news, and this is a very Marvel heavy show because that's the news today. But I was thinking about, this is a side sort of tangent, I just want to say at the beginning, is, hey, Ace the One Writer, is like, I had a special time with her, and I was thinking about most of my favorite experiences with Marvel movies is when I got to see them with someone else and make it a special thing. And I do think there are people who wait to see the Marvels to see it with their dad or their friend back home or something. So I don't think the box office is bad. Well, anyway, that's a whole other thing. But I did think like that made the movie like mean a little bit more, even though it's not like anyway, whatever. Is it really hilarious? Oh, I hope so. But we had a good time, and because she likes superhero girl team up. So anyway, if you're watching me because of Brie Larson, hello. If you're watching me because of a flyer and sticker, hello. But let's just get into, we're going to cut the small talk quick because they're SAG, Marvel, Jimmy Kimmel, all that. Okay, so did I post a tweet? I did. Okay. This and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either with a super chat during the show where I'll drink this amazing guru. You know what? I should bring. No, actually, I was about to say I should do a show on Sparks. That's not a good. Anyway, let's start over. This and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through a super chat during the show, or you can support me on or pledge to my Patreon, where you get more power in the movie review vote. You get exclusive commentary things. I just did the Knock Forest Ride with a Stranger. There's other Knock Forces in my videos I'm doing. I'm sort of going through all my stuff and giving commentaries. You get mailings. They're going to get a Thanksgiving mailing soon. I'm going to draw that picture. I think it'll be out this weekend. It'll be mailed out this weekend. And you'll have film art video with Thanksgiving. They're going to get Christmas ones. You get all sorts of cool stuff, but also helps me support the show. And I know lots of people say to help support me and stuff, but it also, like, I would like to make this a podcast in the next coming months. I would like to make more stickers to get more people into it. There are things that will help this channel grow, and I'm going to tell you about them if you support me through Patreon and stuff like that. So I very much use that money to help grow this, and I thank you very much for being able to, if you are financially able to do so. If you're not, if you just give a like on this video right here or any video, but just watching, thank you very much. It's always good to subscribe as well. That helps. But if you're just here and you're just watching and maybe this is your only video, thank you, by the way. Anyway, the other thing is you should check out my Discord, which is really great. You can find out all sorts of cool things. Like I will ask, what should I cover on the show today? I will say happy birthday to Austin. Happy birthday, Austin. Happy birthday. It was someone else's birthday, and it super. You have a name that I really need to see in front of me, or I'm going to say it wrong. Super Dusky. Where is Super Dusky? Where is that person? They're at the beginning, weren't they? Super Dusky, Black Ant. Happy birthday to you as well. But you also get Discord predictions. They do Friday movie nights. If you are watching this and you are like, who are these people that Jim is always referring to? They seem really actually very cool. Then you can hang out with them 24/7. You can, the general channel where they do a question of the day. Austin Powers doing an amazing job. There's the Ask Jim channel where I try to answer all the questions. I answered them earlier today. Maybe there are new ones. I don't know, but I think around 4 or 5 I did. All sorts of cool stuff. There's the Hello Green Wing Sparrow. There's the licensed playing card channel. There's movie news. There's all sorts of cool stuff. It's really interactive. It's really great, and you should join, as well as follow me on Instagram. I have a personal one where I post a video about Oscar, my son, going to the aquarium. It was a cool video. It's only on there. You can go to my more reels heavy one where it has the, they should be casting thing. TikTok, Tumblr, Twitter. I'm never calling it X. And there's a Facebook fan page. That is all below if you would like to follow those, and you get updates on all that stuff. I'm seeing a lot of things about Garfield. I will try to talk about that earlier than I thought I would, but let's talk about the big news that dropped, which is the Fantastic Four cast. So, what's going on with that? So I think first off, we got the Pedro Pascal news that he has been cast as Mr. Fantastic, but that is not all, my friends. That is not all. We got the full cast. Some of this we've sort of known and heard about. This is all dropped by, I know I've talked about Jeff Snyder, but he recently made a newsletter. It's free, by the way. I signed up because I rely on him as a producer and stuff. But read my messages. Okay, well, at a certain point I will. But he made a new one, and he revealed the full thing. We sort of knew Pedro Pascal was Mr. Fantastic. We had heard for a long time the other three most likely would be, but this was the confirmation he sent out today. Vanessa Kirby is Invisible Woman or Girl, depending on how you go on that. Then you have what's his name? Joseph Quinn, who is the metalhead guy from Stranger Things, if you remember that one. And then you have, and I'm going to try to pronounce this guy's name. And I was just thinking how good of an actor he was, so I'm glad he's the Thing, actually, which would be Iban Mas Baccarat? Iban Mas Baccarat, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, he's the guy from The Bear. He's not the main guy. He's like the brother of the guy. But he, that is the cast of Fantastic Four. He revealed that today. Supposedly the Pedro Pascal thing, which I knew they kind of had the other three casts, and they're sort of trying to figure out what to do specifically. And I know they did not want to go for an all-white cast because Hollywood, I know, like, I want to preface this because I know a lot of people use like real conservative dog whistly stuff. This is not like they're like, oh, they can't do that because they're so woke and virtual signaling and all that stuff. That is not what we're talking about with this. This is just how Hollywood is at this point. That's what I'm saying. It is not me going like, they do not, I don't think you could make a major blockbuster with an all-white cast at this point. I don't think Hollywood would be down with it. They are very pro-diversity in the executive levels. So apparently, and Jeff Snyder noticed this in his reporting, that Kevin Feige noticed that the Fantastic Four he felt was too white. And so when they had the other three locked in, they started thinking of who they could get for Mr. Fantastic and tried to work on Pedro Pascal. Who I think, here's the thing, I did comment that I think Pedro Pascal is a really boring choice. And he is a boring choice. It's the choice that the studio would go, who should we get? We should just get Pedro Pascal. And you're just like, oh, okay. I mean, it's just not a surprising choice. It's not a choice where like, yeah, that's perfect. I mean, he's going to be great. That's the thing, is like, he's a good actor. I'm not upset. I'm not like, fuck you or anything. I'm just sort of like, okay. I'm just not super into it. Supposedly other people who did screen tests were Jamie Dornan and Christopher Abbott. So almost like two boyfriends from girls for almost the Fantastic Four, which is interesting. I like this cast. I'm a little not as sure about Sorry, I'm clicking between to remember all these names. Joseph Quinn as Human Torch. I like Joseph Quinn as an actor. I like him a lot in Stranger Things. He seems like I've never met him, but he seems like he could be a cool person. Um, but I think it'll be a good cast. I like the guy who's playing the Thing. I don't want to have to say his name again. That's hard. I'm gonna have to learn that one. But I think it sounds like a good cast. Supposedly, it's going to be more Sue focused. I'm a little curious about that, not because I'm against Sue focused film, but it feels like if you're doing the origin story, that to me feels more Reed focused. But I'm curious their take on it. I know this is sort of a big thing for Marvel, but I think it is almost a bigger thing for Marvel because they want to be the first ones to make a good Fantastic Four movie. I don't know if the public is as excited as like for the X-Men particularly. I think people are like hyping this movie up, and I'm not saying it'll be bad. I just don't I don't think it's as of a marquee character as the press and the comic book people are acting like it is. Like my dad likes comics, so he's into it. But to your normal person, are they as hyped as the Fantastic Four? I've questioned that quite a bit. But this is a good cast. I think Vanessa Kirby is a great actress. I think she'll be perfect, to be honest. I think she's probably the best person you could have gotten. Apparently they did want to spend at a certain point. I know they were kind of thinking they didn't want to spend for like an Adam Driver or this person or that or Jake Gyllenhaal, who I think they would have been interesting. But I'm curious how they're going to do it, how 60s. I more want it to be Jack Kirby. I wouldn't. I think the thing is, to me, is Jack Kirby is Fantastic Four. And I know, like, I've heard people, someone made a joke tweet where it's like, anytime these superhero things are announced, like, I hope they do this certain run in this sort of costume and this obscure thing. To me, it's like Jack Kirby and his cosmic stuff, and apparently they're going to do the cosmic stuff in this, which I think Galactus is maybe not the greatest choice for an introduction of these characters. But I think there's no way you can't do that without doing the Kirby runs and the Kirby stuff. I think there are other good runs, obviously, but particularly the John Byrne one I remember liking a lot. But you really gotta build up to that. So I hope at least we get a bunch of movies that are doing that. Okay, so Austin brings up Mole Man. I would like Mole Man, who was the first villain, to be the villain. I think he would be the best one. But, I always thought the Underminer was obviously, like, referencing that, right? I mean, right? The Underminer is such a funny name, though. We also got that apparently Javier Bardem would be Galactus. I know previously there were rumors that it was Antonio Banderas. I think Javier Bardem would make a great Galactus. I kind of think both Galactus, Silver Surfer, and Doctor Doom are not first movie villains to me, but I don't know how they're going to use them, so I'll reserve judgment on that. To me, that's like second, third movie. That's not first movie. So I have my reservations about that. There's a constant rumor that what we will get in with Galactus is Silver Surfer will be a girl. I was a little confused by that because I was like, there are heralds of Galactus who are women? So I'm like, are these people misinterpreting that and actually mean like other heralds of Galactus rather than Silver Surfer? And I kind of like, you'd have to change a lot about Silver Surfer because Norrin Rad and everything like that to me is like almost like just not Silver Surfer. It's like a different character. Like I'd be curious how they would adapt that character into a gender swap. That's my only, I'm not like super against it, but I'm like, how would you fully do that? Also, he's like fucking nude. Like, I don't know. That's brings up, that might get a little, I don't know, especially like how ripped Silver Surfer. It's like there's a lot of questions. How are you gonna about that one? But I'm excited for this. I think Max Shankman, I have various issues with I didn't fully love WandaVision, but I think he can. I have the vibes he can do a good Fantastic Four. So, um, hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. I think I had to let a cat out, and then we'll talk about Jimmy Kimmel and continue with the news. Okay. Sorry, that was just a quick thing. Okay. So, sorry if I'm like talking fast. I'm really trying to make sure we don't run super long. I know, I do know this is a weeknight and I know people have work and stuff, so I apologize if I'm keeping anybody up. Too late, but I hope my energy keeps you awake, I guess. All right. So Jimmy Kimmel was announced again as the Oscar host. I am super disappointed by this. I get that he's a solid host. They had 2 years with him, I think. Then they brought him back post the Will Smith year, because that was I don't know, because they had 3 hosts and stuff like that. I was super disappointed. The thing is like, I don't know who. Well, okay, here's the thing. I do know who could do it. Fuck this. I'm going to go, who would do it? You get Colbert, you get Conan, you get Seth Meyers, or you get, what's her name? Amber Riley. Amber Ruffin. Blah. Amber Ruffin. Those are your 4. Those are your 4 people. They're ready to go. Colbert, Conan O'Brien, Seth Meyers, and Amber Ruffin. Those are your 4. You call them. I don't think Conan would do it. I think Colbert would be great. I seriously think Colbert would be really good at it. The problem is, and I know people responded to me with that. I don't think John Oliver would. Ryan Wilson brings up John Oliver. I'm sure he gets called though. That is a good point. But remember when Dick Tracy gave the award to La La Land? Thank you, Austin. I need that in my life. Oh, that's amazing. Cheers. Okay. Austin brings up the Muppets. I know. I'm sort of into you, Guru. That was tasty. This was at the back of my fridge for like a week, so maybe that I should really buy these energy drinks in advance, and I did this time. But I agree with the Muppets. The Muppets would be amazing, actually, and that's a Disney thing. I know Kimmel is only there because he's the Disney late night host, and they have no one to follow him. I know they've talked about it for years. They don't. So they're just sort of stuck with this fucking guy. And I think he's fine, but I don't know. I think when Ellen hosted during her peak, what was it, 2012 or 2013, when she hosted with that picture that was super viral at the time. It's about that level. We're never going to get past that shitty level of host. So I get John Mulaney or there's so many people you could get, and they're just not. I'm a big fan of. I'm curious about how Taylor Tomlinson handles her late night show. I'm actually a fan of her stand up. I know I brought that up before. Sometimes I actually like hearing stand ups that are not my own perspective. I don't know, and that's why I don't know. I like her for whatever reason. She's not my demo at all. But or you get The Rock, or you get Hugh Jackman when Dan Harmon could write for him again, or something like that. But Kimmel is just, it just feels like corporate Disney insists, and they're like, okay, and I don't know if we need to promote Jimmy Kimmel anymore. I don't know. As long as you're not doing, I feel like Kimmel's one thing. Don't get Fallon. Just don't get Jimmy Fallon at all. But I don't know. I'm sure it'll be fine. I wouldn't mind Chris Rock coming back either. I don't think he's coming back. After I said that, I was like, oh, never mind. Whatever. All right, let's get into. There's not much to say. So I think the chat seems to be in agreement about that. Have AI James Dean host the Oscars, St. Power. Do you remember? Okay, hold on. Cheers to you, Zane Powers. Do you ever see this ad? I don't know if it's for like a fragrance or a credit card or a thing that you'd have a commercial for. I forget. But it had this thing of like if James Dean had lived. It was like him as a director, him as this, him as that. And I was like, that was an interesting one. I do think about if James Dean lived. Because he's only in 4 movies. 3 movies? Right? It's 3. And then a few TV things. Like East of Eden, Rebel Without a Cause, Giant. This is only 3. And the real question is, isn't Giant the best one? East of Eden's definitely the worst of the 3. Anyway. When I do my tier list of James Dean. Guess what? They're all good, and he's good in all of them. All right. Was it? It's only 3, I think. Get Seth MacFarlane back. You know what? Okay, Black Sax will bring in Will Smith to host. I thought they should force Will Smith to host, like, forever. Because he hosted the MTV Movie. Like, he should have to host. And it'd be weird and awkward. It's not a good idea. I'm sorry. Okay, have Kevin Hart slap Will Smith. But Kevin Hart can't reach that high. Come on. Was he even in movies? Did James Dean even exist? Oh man, I'm gonna say this in 4 minutes now. All right, or no, I guess I can't because I'm doing a serious thing. So the SAG deal with the AMPTP happened. We are, I guess, done. We'll see after I finish talking about the story with the strike kind of era of 2023 is finally over. Yay, I guess. We'd heard a lot of things from Fran Drescher and something Crabtree, Ireland, I forget his name, who's not an actor, he just works for SAG. And he and they worked out a deal with the AMPTP to finally end the strike. The strike ended about a week ago, I believe. And we didn't really know the terms for a while. Now, there's 2 things we should probably talk about with that, is how people have felt about AI, particularly Justine Bateman, who is Jason Bateman's brother. Austin says, every time I hear about Will Smith, don't want to know. That's true. I actually saw Hip Hop Madness had an interesting video on Will Smith. I've seen other videos on Will Smith. I think people are really looking at his career more now. It seems like this year I've seen more interesting things, but I do feel like that information, the gay sex thing, I'm like, I don't care if Will Smith's gay. Like, that's like a thing. Anyway, cheers to you, Austin. But like, is that supposed to upset me? I don't. What? Get Cornbread to host the Oscar? You know what? I'm for that. Anyway, so we found out the AI protection is not as good as it could be. Justine Bateman, who is on that show with Michael J. Fox, which I always forget the name. Is it Family Ties? I didn't really watch the Michael J. Fox sitcom. I just watched like Back to the Future, so like most people. So like I don't remember. She was on a sitcom with Michael J. Fox. She's Jason Bateman's sister. She an actress in her own right. She was on an episode of Arrested Development. Anyway, so she what? That's interesting. Sorry, Cornbread's thing threw me. She did not really like the AI language in there. They claimed they had stopped generative AI and certain things like that in interviews, particularly with the Ankler that I saw them do. I will get to your super chat. I will get to you, St. Paris. So it seems to be a conflict of whether the SAG membership will vote for it. That has gone through the negotiation board, and the other board have had questions about this. Now, the one thing I think I should bring up, and I brought up on a past show, is that Tommy Tubi's coming back. I have a thing on him later. Sorry. I'll get... Sorry. I'm a little too goofy when I do this show, I think. I'm trying to talk about serious things. But they were trying to stop generative AI to a certain degree, but a lot... Okay. Rip. I was talking about before how if this deal hadn't worked out, the whole year of TV, season of TV was not going to happen. A lot of money was going to get lost, and Fran Drescher and the leaders of SAG were going to be kicked out. That was a thing. The highest paid members of SAG were going to go after them pretty heavily. So it seemed to me, when you hear about how this AI deal was not done as well as it should have been, and how there have been questions about that deal, even though they did great things like they gave an 11% raise to background actors who got the biggest raise of everyone on the deal. That is actually a really good thing. They did do certain good things in here for the smaller members, a lot more than the bigger members, which I know they've said that, and that might sound like like they're just like kind of trying to get you to think they're great people, but from my understanding that is true. But the AI thing seemed to be a thing that they are very much, the studios don't want to budge on, and and the fact that they want to do this general AI stuff is scary. So I think what we're going to see with this is there's going to be a lot of disagreement on it, but I don't at this time believe it's going to go back on strike, because everyone just wants the strike shit to be over, and I think studios have used that to their advantage to get this through. Now, the thing about the AI is people are always talking about how AI is the worst it's ever going to be. It's only going to get better from here. But a lot of other people have brought up is like, even though we have the Edith Piaf shit and the other shit that is being announced, we have not actually had anything that's made significant amount of money. We don't know how much it's going to cost to make an AI movie. Everyone says it's going to be cheaper. We literally, at this point, don't know. It's basically like NFT hype all over again. I can say all this shit about how like, oh, we'll do this and we'll do that, and like we could do this, but like until you've like done it, which they haven't, it's a little like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I know I've said that a lot, but it's like you haven't done it though. It's like you're saying like, I mean, I could climb Everest, or I could do the New York Marathon, and I don't need to train and stuff. And you would definitely screw up a bunch. And so I think this is like the idea that they could get this is so sexy to them, but like for them to, anyway, I just don't understand the AI, like why you'd be so into it. But the other, anyway, before I want to get through a bunch of the stuff, but the industry about this is changing rapidly. Netflix announced it's going to go from 25 to 50 movies a year to just 30, or no, it was 50 movies a year to 25 or 30 movies a year. A lot of studios have said they're going to be making less. The thing I was saying, how all these strikes will dramatically hit how many movies we get in a year, is 100% true. The industry is going to be shrinking. There's going to be this kind of tightening of the belts. That's why like everyone thought there'd be a massive amount of news, and on this show there is definitely, but everyone thought there would be even more, because the industry that was there before the strike era that we're just ending with is not there anymore, which I've been saying for a while on the show, and I'm going to continue saying. So a lot of these studios are saying we're going to think about quality over quantity, but that doesn't always work out. I'm sorry. I'm like, so are you admitting like some of those movies you made were like absolute dog shit? Like, it just seems like that's what's basically going to happen, is they will give the biggest talent movies and the biggest franchise movies, and the smaller guys, they'll be like, fuck off. I do think there'll be a growing independent movement in terms of like YouTube and Twitch and like distributing other things. I feel like there's no way that doesn't happen at this point. But anyway, before we get into other AI stuff with Jeffrey Katzenberg, and I will talk about that, I will get to these super chats. Zane Powers says, favorite gay scandal that you experienced. From Zane Powers, I think the Richard Gere gerbil thing is still top tier. So cheers to you, Zane Powers, and cheers to that gerbil, I guess. Apparently it's not true. Disappointing. Nathaniel Focus says, I can't believe you didn't mention Tommy Tubi. There is a Tommy Tubi thing later. I have it in here. Don't worry. Cheers to you. Nathaniel Focus. Sorry to be all serious with the... Alright. So, Jeffrey Katzenberg, who does not presently run an animation studio, but first ran Disney, was a total dick, was a dick to people at his friend's funeral, then get fired for being a total dick, made his own animation studio, stopped being as much of a dick, then sold his company and made Quibi. That's about his life, I think. And he might have gotten married or had a kid or something, whatever. But he said a statement, and I'm drinking Guru, which is pretty good. I'm sort of get why the young people are into this. Said, this is the quote from him, and I want to preface that my thing with this quote and what Katzenberg's doing is Katzenberg saying this. He's a major figure. Quibi, we joke about Quibi, but he was able to get all those people to join Quibi. And like, you have to have a certain amount of power to be able to do that. And I think if he is saying this out loud, every animation studio is thinking this. I'm not trying to scare you, but I am actually. You should be scared. This is fucked up. And I totally believe they will be going into this. Now, the fact that the animators union is going to be going to redo their contracts next year is going to have a lot to do with this. And I'm assuming Jeffrey Katzenberg said it because he does not have to negotiate with them. So he said in the good old days, because he doesn't run an animation studio. He just like sits around and he still has the Quibi app on his phone. In the good old days, you might need 500 artists and years to make a world-class animated movie. I don't think it will take 10% of that 3 years from now. Well, thank you, Darren Root. Okay. I don't think we're there. The thing is, like, I do think AI, once you get a real filmmaker, which I don't think we've had, like, your shitty pictures of Star Wars in the silent era are, like, neat. But, like, we haven't had a real filmmaker do something with AI who has, like, talent and, like, cares about film and visual storytelling and not just, like, you know, to send out one of those tweets like, Hollywood's really in trouble. I don't know how storytelling works. You know, if only, it's like, whatever. None of those people are real filmmakers or artists or, like, people with souls. I get it. But the thing with, if you get a real filmmaker who's really innovative and has a real style to them, I do think they could do something with AI. But until that happens, this is just a bunch of guys jerking off in the shower, and nobody wants to watch that. So it's really nothing of consequence at the present moment. It really is not. You really need someone creative to do it. I don't think Disney or whomever. I do hate the design that, like, Nimona and Wish and all that stuff. It's just like, you know, oh, Lauren Jones is in here? Oh, hey. Oh, at the water plant. Okay, hello, Lauren Jones. I hope everything's going well at the water plant. But anyway, let's get into another big thing, which feels unprecedented. And I completely think this story was held until the strike was over, because it really just came out last week. It was Coyote versus Acme, a movie that was completely done as a live-action animation hybrid. Was told that they were going to be basically become what Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt were going to happen to. Everyone says Batgirl, but it happened to Scoob Holiday Haunt too, and I want to acknowledge that. So this would have been the third movie. They were going to give it a tax write-off, and then they slowly and suddenly realized, because they weren't going to try to sell it, they were just like, we're doing the tax write-off. They told the director everything like that. But what happened with this movie basically is they were going to write it off, but then a lot of directors, including the director of No One Can Save You, actually publicly were rallying against Warner Brothers. A lot of directors and writers and stuff were canceling meetings at Warner Brothers because, you know, this is the third movie. The real thing is not that, like, oh, this won't happen to me. It's more like, well, it could happen to anyone. This is a $70 million movie with John Cena and Wile E. Coyote. How do you know you're not going to be next? Now, the premise of this movie, by the way, was that Wile E. Coyote was going to sue the Acme Corporation because of all the failure he's had with their products, which is a funny enough concept. And they were going to just get a tax write-off, get $30 million back. I think that was... It's a bad move for a lot of reasons, and I want to get into those reasons. But it didn't work out for them because you had so many people not wanting to work with Warner Brothers fairly publicly. And they have been trying to get Christopher Nolan back, which I think I think will not happen now. I think they noticed they were trying to get Nolan back. They were trying to get all these big creative people to come to Warner Brothers, and they also shelved, by the way, a movie which was written by James Gunn, who's running DC. So they tremendously biffed it. Like, this is a failure on so many levels. Um, and they realized they fucked up, and then they said, okay, the director of Coyote vs. Acme can then go off and try to sell this movie to other studios. Apparently, it did. The screenings went well. Lord Miller were praising it. Apparently, it was test scoring well. Some people have brought up that the director has gotten all his director friends to praise the movie, which is, like, by the way, not a shitty thing to bring up. It does sort of feel like there's a social media campaign. I don't know if it's like, I don't think the movie's bad, but it does feel like he's asking favors for people for social media, which is fine. They're trying to sell a movie. I get it. But it does feel like other studios, particularly Universal and Paramount, are interested. This brings up a couple things. One is when they set it for $30 million. I don't know if you know how like sales works, but like they basically devalued their movie. If they had just gone to Netflix and been like, "Hey, will you give us $70 million for this John Cena movie with Wile E. Coyote?" They might have been like, "Oh yeah, I don't know, whatever." But you basically devalued the thing that you were selling. Like like what the hilarious thing is, they're like, "We need money," but they're like real stupid at it because you basically just devalued it. So you're gonna make less than you would have. Like, they probably would have made more had they not done all this thing. They burned tons of bridges. They fucked up a relationship with the guy who's making their Superman movie. It is like one of the worst decisions. Like, David Zaslav is such a fucking idiot. I know John Cena is not in the greatest place because he just recently had a pretty big bomb, actually, the movie Freelance with Alison Brie. If you do not know what I'm talking about, I'm not joking. This is a real movie. It cost about $40 million. And like nobody heard of it, and it didn't do well, but like for obvious reasons. So I guess maybe that was, it probably didn't help the movie, but the fact that they sent it to test audiences and it was scoring really well. And the other thing is, like, Warner Brothers like has spent a lot of money on new Looney Tunes cartoons, and they're making other Looney Tunes movies, and like the person who's gonna do well off of a Looney Tune movie and Looney Tune merch is Warner Brothers. So like it's extra confusing. Like, if you're gonna throw it on Max or something, I get it because you want people to check out those excellent cartoons, by the way, excellent cartoons. But it is ridiculous what they did here. I have heard, and I wanted to bring this up. I might have brought this up a year ago or something. Maybe I didn't. But there was a podcast where a couple of people brought up. I think it was an Ankler podcast, and they brought up like that Warner's should actually sell the Looney Tunes because they do not know what to do with them. And as shocking as that sounds, I still agree that that they should sell the Looney Tunes because they're not good at marketing them. Most people do not know about the new ones. They're not good at licensing them. They're just like, they're not good at it. And I think there's like plenty of studios, whether it be like Nickelodeon, like look at like, you might not like that they canceled Rise of TMNT, but like we've gotten like a great Ninja Turtles show and a great movie, maybe two of the best. I don't really actually like their Rugrats, but I do think they could have utilized Looney Tunes a lot better, or Universal, or a studio that's like hungry for it. So I do think like Warner's, it's their marquee brand and they're bad at it. And I think like under Zaslav, under whomever's been running Max, they have not done right by this property, and they continue not to be. And it says a lot about them as a studio. Like Paleo's actually bringing. It said this in the chat. He said that's so weird. It would be like Disney selling Mickey and Friends. You're very right, Paleo, on that. And I agree it would. But they're not good at running Looney Tunes, and that is an embarrassment to that brand that they cannot. In the end, that they have the best Looney Tunes stuff they've had in decades. Presently, like it's like, oh, Wile E. Coyote. Let's say it did well or did decent. I'm sure you could just put that higher on the landing page for Max, and you get views. So it's like, I don't know. I think this was like one of their dumbest moves ever, because like, let's say, yeah, okay, I haven't seen Batgirl, let's say it's not very good. Scoob Holiday Haunt seems to be a big question mark, but this specifically was the wrong movie to do that with and the wrong brand, and they ruined it. They really fucked themselves up. I think it is, they tried to back away to let them sell it, but the damage was already done. Like, they're not getting Christopher Nolan back, particularly if Universal gets him that Oscar, which presently it looks like they will. I think they fucked up. Like, there's no, like, David Zaslav is a fucking idiot. I know he said, like, certain things about writers and stuff, but he is probably the worst film executive of all time. And the fact that he, I haven't seen this movie. Maybe it isn't actually as good as everyone's saying. Like, that's, to a certain extent, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Like, it's just like the writing on the wall and the reporting does not look good for you. And even if that movie turns out to be okay, everything I'm saying before this statement is 100% right. He is a failure, both as a person morally and as an executive, and I just don't see, I just don't see any other thing to say about him. All right, so the Garfield trailer. Here's my thing with the Garfield trailer. It fucking sucks. No, the thing with the Garfield trailer is the dad element. It's like, I don't know what about Chris Pratt as an actor. Like, it's definitely like his auteur. Like, auteur theory can mean anyone who has an authorship in it. Auteur means author. Which, don't get me started. There was a video recently about criticism that somebody made, and Be Kind Rewind it apart, and they said Andrew Sarris invented auteur theory. Like, that's not true. It's a French word. It came from the French. He just brought it to America because he can read French. Like, don't ever... Anyway. Just if you ever hear that, just it pisses me off. Because not just because I made a video, but because it's wrong, and I don't understand, whatever. Sorry, Garfield, right? You don't want to hear about auteur theory. But Garfield... My thing with this is Chris Pratt is a horrible voice as Garfield. I think it should have been Paul Walter Hauser, but my thing, and I tweeted this, but I agree with it, is like, it should have been someone who I can reasonably believe would have lasagna. Like, I do not believe Chris Pratt presently eats lasagna. I don't think he's had lasagna since before Guardians. I can hear it on your voice if you've had lasagna. And like in all seriousness, do you think Chris Pratt has eaten lasagna in since 2013? I don't think so. I don't think so, guys. Like, you can tell from my voice. I had lasagna tonight. You can hear it. But like Chris Pratt, that is lasagna-free voice. He hasn't had pasta at all. Not at all. You can tell. You can tell it on his fucking breath. That asshole doesn't have any fucking pasta. He probably eats like boiled chicken breast. So it's like not even living or whatever. But like, I'm telling you, you can hear it. It bugs me. It bugs the shit out of me. It's, I'm seeing a lot of people saying Nick Offerman, which would have been a lot better. But it's like, why would you need Chris Pratt in this? Like, that's the thing I don't get about these celebrity voices. Like, kids don't give a shit. Like, the parents go, oh, is that Seth Regan in this Donkey Kong? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, okay, whatever. It's like, I don't understand why do it? Anyway, it looked like an okay trailer. I think it looks pretty good. But, whoa, Sid Ram with a very generous super chat said, I slept too long. I'm so sorry. Mark Maron would be a good Garfield. Anyway. Cheers to you, Sid Ram. Cheers to you. You did miss the AI part. I apologize. I should have woken Sid Ram up. I should have done that. Anyway, cheers to you. Thank you for the stream. It's very nice of you. Whoa. Nathaniel Focus said H. John Benjamin was right there. You know what? I agree with that one. Cheers to you, Sinram. Very generous of you. All right. No, but like, is there like, I don't understand like why we cast Chris Pratt in these fucking things. Like, what is it like? Does Hollywood think Chris Pratt, like we all like Chris Pratt? Like, I think we all like Chris Pratt until Magnificent Seven. I think that was the point where like, when's he going to be Star-Lord again? Like, I think everyone likes Star-Lord. They don't like Chris Pratt. I think that's the truth. You know what I mean? Like, he's real good at Star-Lord. I actually like him as Star-Lord. But like when he's Jurassic Park guy, I'm like, I don't know. Same with like other movies he's in. He's just not, I don't know. It's like, also, I don't think Garfield can't be a Christian. No, I'm sorry, that was too far. But I mean, I canceled for that one. But Garfield, I don't know. I don't even think Chris Pratt hates Mondays. I said it. I fucking said it. Also, how about this? What's Andrew Garfield doing? His name's Garfield, and according to BoJack Horseman, also hates Mondays and likes lasagna. Like, what are we ultimately doing? What are we doing if not having... Like, what's Andrew Garfield even doing right now, bro? What's he even doing? Like, waiting for them to make a third Spider-Man movie? Okay. Yeah, I'm sure Emma Stone's going to call you tomorrow, too. All right. Wow, I am fired up. Okay. Take that. Andrew Garfield was watching, like, I just want to watch Jim stream and relax. Now he's crying in his lasagna. At least it's not a Monday. Sorry, I got Bailey to go, wow. I like that Ace Woodrider, like, Andrew Garfield hates Mondays and loves lasagna. Markiplier's Garfield and Blood Tea. No. I am a little sassy tonight. Alright, now we're going to talk about the Marvel slate, which came out post the SAG thing. Oh, wait, we have it. Nathaniel Post said, who would have guessed that Andy and Gene Ralphio from Parks and Rec would somehow end up as Garfield and Sonic? I actually think that's funny. You know what? Garfield, Mario, and Sonic, you're right. Sorry. Anyway, thank you for... Yeah, that is interesting. It's interesting how much Parks and Rec, how many of these suggestions were Parks and Rec in here, as well with Nick Offerman. Cheers to you. Cheers to you, the Theater Foga. Cornbread said, watching Movie Crap Live, actually, I'm watching this next to Andrew and he just left the room. Please apologize. No, I won't. I'm hardcore, bro. Look, you weren't good. Anyway. You know what? He left just like in that Social Network scene. It was like, lawyer up, asshole. All right. Ninja as Garfield. Zane Powers. You know what? At this point, here's the real question. Decide this in the chat. Would Ninja be worse than Chris Pratt as Garfield? I'm not even sure, to be honest. I don't have strong feelings either way. Cheers to you, Zane Powers. All right, so there's been a lot of questions about Marvel. We're spending it a lot about how Marvel fucked up. Basically, Ninja can't act, so yeah. Oh, wow. Everyone supports Ninja taking over. But obviously, the superhero fatigue thing, and I think Marvel saw the box office of the Marvels happening. Ninja from Diane, what? Oh, how dare you? But after the slate, because after the strike officially ended, we finally got what Deadpool 3's fate would be and the rest of the Marvel slate. Deadpool 3 went undated for a few weeks, which is pretty wild for a movie that's as big as Deadpool 3, and we got sort of an answer, which is the 2024 will only have one Marvel movie, which is Deadpool 3, which is sort of like not really having an MCU movie until February 14th, 2025 with Captain America 4. It was revealed that Captain America, I think it's Brave New World, not New World Order. Also, Andrew Garfield unsubbed. He was subscribed? Oh, thanks, Andrew. It was revealed that film needed extensive reshoots because a lot of people were wondering why that didn't take the May slot that Deadpool 3 had, but didn't because of that. The other thing, so there's no real MCU movies in 2024, and other than Echo and X-Men 97 coming out, and possibly Wonder Man, which apparently was shooting, we have not really any 2024 big Marvel things, which was surprising. And I honestly thought it was like a good thing. Like, let's let the brand have a break. We've had kind of too many, I don't know, just like, it has felt like people are really just sick of this stuff. And like, we really need to, I think, give the public a break. which I was totally for, and like reading how under this, like Deadpool 3 2024, there'll be no real Marvel things except for like Madam Web will come out. I think, I forget Craven's release date, and Joker are kind of the big, Joker 2 are like the big superhero movies 2024. So no, I would say marquee kind of major brand characters. And I looked at, 2025 has 4 Marvel movies. That's pretty crazy. And those would be Fantastic Four, or no, these would be Captain America 4 or Brave New World, not New World Order, February 14, 2025. Sounds like a great Valentine's Day movie, guys. I'm lost on that one. Fantastic Four presently at May 2nd, 2025. Thunderbolts, which everyone thinks won't happen, on July 25th, 2025. And Blade, which also no one thinks will happen, on November 7th, 2025. And I was like, okay, that's a lot of Marvel things. At least 2 of those are major characters coming back to movies. And then I also realized, wait, there's a Superman movie in 2025. Also, wait, the sequel to The Batman comes out in October 2025. So as much as we're all like, 2024, we're going to have a break and a breather and like not, I don't have to watch any of these MCU shows and like it's going to take a break. And then I see 2025, I'm like, oh, it is like very much on in 2025. Like it's going to be crazy in 2025. like even if they take one of those movies off, it's still wild. It just the whole, it's like we'll get a break and then it's like, no, we're going to hit you with fucking everything. Like did you hate superheroes before? Well, 2025 will hate them all over again because we're going to go fucking nuts. Like it is like basically the summer will be determined of 2025 but Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, and Superman. But Thunderbolts won't happen, but still Fantastic Four and Superman, those are huge characters. I just think that's pretty wild. There has been talk of like their restructuring. We learned today that the director of Kang, the Avengers Kang Dynasty, the director of Shang-Chi, Destin Daniel Cretton has exited that project, as well as the writer has. It's largely believed because I've not finished Loki. I kind of slowly am because of Scavengers Reign, and I've like, I like review other stuff and all that. I just haven't really gotten to it. But that sort of wraps up the Kang thing. Apparently the Kang thing, they decided to end that more because Ant-Man didn't do so good, and before the legal stuff. And I think the legal stuff made them like, no, but for real, let's end this shit. Like, let's get the fuck out, bro. So I do think what's going to happen, I do think the Kang Dynasty will probably end. Almost everyone thinks it's not going to happen as a movie, and they'll just do Secret Wars, maybe 1 and 2. I mean, there was in the 80s Secret Wars 1 and 2, but we'll see. I know that I will say that Destin Daniel Cretton is going to now be focusing on. He's already done his Wonder Man thing, which he's really into. And they also, he's going to be working on a Shang-Chi sequel. I think it is weird they did not get on the Shang-Chi thing more because as I've talked to people about superhero fatigue, almost universally when they talk about this phase, it's basically like No Way Home, and then Shang-Chi comes up for the people who are not as like super into this stuff as much. It seems to be the one I always hear brought up. So I do think they should have been developing this earlier. It seems like Simu Liu, it seems like people really, I like him more for Kim's convenience, but I didn't love that movie, but I also think Destin Daniel Cretton should get more respect because like he did a movie with Tony Leung, and Tony Leung's like, regardless of what I think, he's good in that movie. I mean, Tony Leung's one of the greatest film actors of all time, but that he got him to do a Hollywood movie and got a good performance out of him and was able to deal with those kind of like huge international stars in that. I really very much mean that. I think that's a director who Marvel's taking seriously for a reason. I know some people don't like Shang-Chi, but like working with Tony Leung, like that's something like Wong Kar-wai does. That's not like a Hollywood director thing. So like for real respect on that one. And apparently Wonder Man is going to be under the Marvel Spotlight banner, which is the one that doesn't have as much to do with continuity, even though Marvel's all about continuity, but whatever. But apparently the Wonder Man thing is already shooting. And I've heard Ironheart's already done. And the two other Marvel things before we get to box office stuff about the Marvels. Oh, he was in Barbie. I forgot about that. Thank you, Austin. It's late and I don't know. We learned that Spider-Man Freshman Year has been dated by the U.S. Copyright Office as premiering on November 2nd, 2024. It does feel like they're going to try to do more of the animated stuff that'll appeal more to fans. I do think one thing about this phase of Marvel we haven't talked about, because it's the multiverse era, is that I honestly really have always believed that when Spider-Verse hit, Marvel was not prepared. And they were like, we have to sort of counter it, rather than just being like, whatever. I mean, that's amazing. But, like, in all honesty, it looks like Across the Spider-Verse will win Best Animated Feature at this point. There's like no, there's nothing stopping that. Unless The Boy and the Heron is like, zenith level Miyazaki. But, like, I think, like, the experimentation in the Spider-Verse is just too much. Like, that's if you see that on a decent screen, you're not, I don't know. I haven't seen The Boy and the Heron, but to my understanding, it's still Across the Spider-Verse is going to win. So I think Marvel saw all that is probably, I think they're insecure because they look outdated compared to those movies. That's kind of what I've always thought about. But the other thing is Kevin Feige, this is a short thing, said on the red carpet, someone asked him about his Star Wars movie, and he said not happening. So, it sounds like Marvel's got enough shit he's got to deal with and figure out for this next phase. I would say also as Marvel, 2026 and beyond is very much questionable. It seems like because they announced 2025 and this cast sort of leaked, even though it wasn't fully announced, but he was told, Jeff Snyder was obviously told he could go with it and stuff like that, but I would say that beyond 2025, I would consider all those dates probably movable. I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know if there is a D23 this coming summer or what Marvel's going to do in terms of an announcement, but I'd expect after Deadpool 3 they might announce more. It was also, anyway, I was going to say something, but it was a obvious spoiler. Okay, we're going to do, because this is a Wednesday show, I never get to do box office stuff. So I'm going to do a little box office thing because I did want to talk about the Marvels. But also, I want to talk about other box office stuff because I never get to do a box office segment. So this is the box office segment. Money, ka-ching. Money, ka-ching. I lost all my money. Jump out the window. Okay, that probably still happens. I don't know. So the big news is the Marvels, despite costing, Nimona will probably get a nomination, by the way. That seems to be a given. I think Netflix is very much behind that. Also because they can embarrass somebody. Every studio loves that shit. That's not a joke. The Marvels opened to $46 million, which was the lowest Marvel opening ever. Beating The Incredible Hulk, I guess. This was bad because the film cost over $200 million. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's a total flop because, like I said earlier, I do honestly think that this film will have legs, particularly with Thanksgiving, because I don't think Trolls 3 is going to appeal to outside of the kiddos. Same with Wish. And there's not really, like, Dune 2 is gone right now, so it's like if you're sitting there and you're like with your family, the competition is, are you gonna take your mom to Five Nights at Freddy's? Probably not. Are you guys gonna go to Taylor Swift the Eras Tour? Okay, there's a chance on that one. And I will say, oh hey Tunjay, I do think the Taylor Swift Eras Tour which is third this past weekend, even though it fell by 55%. A lot of the places which was going to she was going to leave because her contract was up. Regal re-signed her. A lot of independent theaters re-signed to keep that movie, even though it's only playing on the weekends. But Thanksgiving is on a Thursday, so it could, you're stuck in whatever town you're having Thanksgiving in, and you could go, you know what, we will see the Eras Tour. And it seems like because the Marvels bombed and Dune 2 didn't happen because they were prepared for that. There are more screens available for the Taylor Swift Eras tour, which has already made 172 million. So I do think that will continue to be in the top five. I just don't see a change in that. But Five Nights at Freddy's is still falling, but still has 127 million on a pretty low budget. That's fine. I thought Priscilla would do a little better, but I didn't. It's hard for my wife and I to go on a date night, so would but I think I would like to see that because I read the Elvis and Me book and I get super into just like that was really fucked up. That's like my like lame parent story. I'm gonna be shocked by. Sidram says relative opening to 47 million would make my millennium. See, or 46 million. I don't know why I said 47. You know what? That's true. It's like it's really based on the cost. I hope you know what? I hope it does. Cheers to you and cheers to relatives, Sidram. Thank you very much for your generosity tonight. Let's see. Killers of the Flower Moon still managing at 59 million, which works out for Apple. Which again, I don't think I need to repeat this, but I've said it online. Both Amazon and Apple, anything about their streaming services, is basically like they're basically like don't even announce it on their earnings calls. So like anytime someone's like Amazon's screwed, Amazon doesn't even care. Like it's not it doesn't even come up in their quarterly earnings shit. Like that's how much they don't give a shit about these things. So like if the fact that like Apple's like, oh yeah, I think we have Terry Lasso or something. Anyway, back to laptops. Like they like don't care. So like anytime people are like, oh, Apple's screwed, like I'm sure like Tim Cook like, what happened? What? I don't, leave me alone. Like it just doesn't. Anyway, anyone who says Killers of the Flower Moon is bombing is an idiot. Holdovers is doing really well. I do want to see that. I don't think there's anything else to bring up with their It's a Wonderful Life. Didn't do super hot. I do, you know what? I am upset. How did we let It's a Wonderful Knife come out before Thanksgiving, the horror movie? Like, that's so upsetting to me. Like, there's definitely a war on Christmas, and we can't let the Thanksgiving horror movie open before the Christmas horror movie. Like, what are we even doing? Like, and I wanted to see It's a Wonderful Knife, but I'm going to see Thanksgiving. I've been waiting since 2007 for that shit. Like, I'm seeing fucking Thanksgiving. There's no way. I need to figure out how I'm going to see it. But I'm going to see Thanksgiving. That's for sure. It's a Wonderful Knife sounds like a cool concept. I just thought that was going to Shudder. In fact, people I knew I sent the trailer to were like, I thought that was going to Shudder too. What happened? So, I hope it does. Anyway, I did say that last stream. I'm sorry. I repeat myself. Okay. So, I don't know if you heard about this, but there is a movie. It's called Dr. Barbenheimer. No, it's called Barbenheimer. I'm sorry. The film follows Dr. Barbenheimer, a scientist doll living in Dolltopia who tries to take out humanity with a nuclear bomb. So, obviously, and let's be real here, obviously Tommy Tubi is on this. And in fact, emailed the distributors as soon as this tweet went out saying, what are your plans? How can I bring this to Tubi? And, the Dr. Barbenheimer then responded like, well, we're thinking of a deal with Freevee. And Tommy Tubi responded like, Freevee, why don't you just send your movie down a black hole of nothingness that will never be... Why don't you just throw your movie down a black hole of nothingness? Because no one gives a shit about Freevee unless it's jury duty. Nobody fucking cares. Don't fuck with me, dude. Send me Dr. Barbenheimer right fucking now. And the guy was like, look, Tommy, you need to calm down. I can figure if the Freevee's offering me a lot of money. It's like nobody gives a shit. It's on Freevee. Nobody watches Freevee. Freevee it more sounds like somebody sneezed or some shit. Get on Tubi. That's where the real men are. And then the Dr. Barbenheimer, sorry, I don't know where I'm going with this, said like, Tommy, I don't like how you gender things like this. It's not acceptable. I don't want to go on Tubi. I know that's where people get drunk and watch stuff, and Freebie is just sort of a thing you come on where someone sat on the remote by accident. But to be totally honest with you, Amazon is offering more money, and Tommy responded like, "I will offer you 1,000,000 more. I have to have, or 1,000 more." It's Tommy. I have to have Dr. Barbenheimer. Tubi exists for a movie like Dr. Barbenheimer to happen. You are a fucking idiot to let this go. You are barely a film producer. You basically are making a movie for absolutely no one. Tommy Tubi, and then Dr. Barbenheimer says, I can tell that you're not actually copying and pasting your email. You're visibly upset. I'm telling you, I have a deal with Freebie. He goes, I'll call the Freebie people and end this deal because I'm Tommy fucking Tubi. Anyway, Tommy Tubi apparently got in a fight at the Freebie offices, and Dr. Barbenheimer will be on Tubi coming next year. So I think ultimately, look, Tommy Tubi is a chill guy, but don't fuck with his mean movies. Like, he's pretty upset that It's a Wonderful Knife went to Shudder. You don't want to get... Tommy Tubi just doesn't talk about Shudder because he's just like, how the fuck did Shudder happen? That's my shit. Like, how could you fuck with my shit? Like, that's ridiculous. Anyway. You know what? Anytime I have, like, visible, like, things that would actually go on Tubi News, I'm going to resurrect Tommy Tubi. So if you hear actual shitty movies that should be on Tubi, let me know, and we'll do a Tommy Tubi story. It's got to be good, and I'll come up with a bit. I had, like, a whole thing I was going to do about the producer of Dr. Barbenheimer's mom, which I think was a little dark. Anyway, we do have a lot of big news, and I should try to wrap this up in about 20 so we can do the segment. By the way, the 2 segments are good. I didn't bring this up earlier, and I don't know why. Oh, I think we do have a little too many stories. One is the Wassup ad, and then the Scavengers Reign pilot short are going to be the 2 segments. I'm sorry. I know I tweeted that. I should have said at the beginning of the show. We do have a lot to get to, but I realized we were going to do that. All right. So there's going to be another Peanuts movie. Remember when there were other Peanuts movies? Calm down with his Ouija shark. With his Ouija ghost shark. Tommy Tubi fought for Ouija ghost shark. All right? Like, some of these he'll just copy paste and he'll just get these, but anyone who thinks that Pluto or like Freebie can get anything knows that Tommy Tubi makes sure that shit does not go down. All right, he's a chill dude because most of that stuff just comes to him. But if you think he's gonna let like Prime stupid videos, like, Free Cousin, get these other B movies, you are sadly mistaken. So there's going to be another Peanuts movie. Sorry, there's going to be another Peanuts movie. From the actual director of the last Peanuts movie, called The Peanuts Movie. I think, it's by is it the same director? I thought it was the same director. But it's at least a lot of the people who are involved in the original one, because Apple is more involved in Peanuts now. They kind of won Peanuts in the streaming wars. I think this is a great move because I really liked the Peanuts movie, Peanut, whatever it was. I've been meaning to show it to my kids. I haven't, although we watched the 2 Thanksgiving specials tonight, and Peanuts are always around at this time. And Peanuts does have, like, I know I reviewed one of the original movies, one of the original Peanuts films, but there were several Peanuts movies, so I think it works. And I do think, like, it could work for another movie, particularly if you have the same people involved, and Wild Brain as well is involved. But I'm excited for this. I think it'll be cool. I think it'll also help people remember the other Peanuts movie. And that was at Blue Sky. Obviously, Blue Sky is, like, not there because Disney's all horrible. So it will be interesting to see this franchise move on past Blue Sky, but not with Disney. But with Apple, and I think Apple could probably do good work with it. They have a Snoopy show, they have other stuff, so I think that could work out. Another thing, and a show that Austin is sort of involved in, and I think people would like to know, is Carl the Collector. It's the first show featuring a cast of characters on the autism spectrum. This is on PBS Kids. I know some of you are in Canada, and I can't speak to how you would get that distributed. But if you are in America, the PBS Kids app is free, by the way. It's as free as Tubi. Don't get Tommy Tubi started on that. He will get really upset. He has bought basically every animated Hanna-Barbera thing that Max threw away. But we're not going to get into that. It's sort of not a joke. But Carl the Collector does sound cool, but I do recommend the PBS Kids app. It's pretty neat. So if you want to check that out, that'll be in the fall of 2024, I believe. And it literally does sound actually pretty cool, and I like that the idea that the cast will be both neurotypical and neurodivergent characters, each with unique traits, behaviors, and learning preferences. A team of neurodiverse, and neurotypical writers, advisors, and voice talent has been recruited to participate in the show's production. So I actually, I want to say also, and not to... we're not going to embarrass Austin this time, but I will say I did see this on parents' Facebook groups and parent influencers posting this, which is good for two things. Like, they're like, oh yay, the show's happening, but also like that a different animated show is getting this sort of attention. I hope they're going to be supporting it when it actually premieres. I will try to check that out when it happens, but it seems pretty cool. I talked about Coyote vs. Acme earlier in Blood Tea. All right, so if I'm rushing through it, just because I want to try to get, I'm really trying not to run long, but I think there's a good chance. So Nintendo just randomly announced a Zelda movie with Wes Ball, the director of the Maze Runner movies and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I think we talked about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes last time, didn't we? Did we? I forget. Wes Ball's a cool director if you ever saw the Maze Runner films. I don't know if Will's here, but he will vouch for me on the Maze Runner films. They are pretty well directed. It's basically like if you took one of those Divergent or Hunger Games things and you know how there's that part where they explain the dumb rules of like their stupid society or whatever, and Maze Runner's like, yeah, this stuff happened, whatever. Now they're running in a maze and it's like really fast, and you know, how can you hate running in a maze? Come on. But no, it is very much more actiony and very much like, come on, these are dumb, let's just keep it moving, and it like works so much better because of that. But yeah, he's doing King of the Planet of the Apes, and apparently he's doing the Zelda movie with Avi Arad, who most people know for producing the Netflix show Super Monsters and nothing else. But this was a bit of a shock because Zelda was trying to be developed at Universal, much like the Mario film. And apparently they're considering doing like having DreamWorks do Zelda, whereas because Universal has Illumination and Chris Meledandri has Illumination and DreamWorks now, and the idea was like one studio would do one kind of Nintendo movie, the other studio would do the other, and Nintendo saw whatever they were doing and goes, yeah, this sucks. Basically, I'm out, and went with another studio. What Nintendo is doing, and what I believe they're doing, is kind of the one thing that studios can do, the smarter studios are doing that the legacy streaming service studios are not. And I have always been on Wes Ball's side. Wes Ball can thank me for something. And I did see that there's a Monster Trucks writer involved in Zelda the movie. But what they're basically doing is, and it's interesting they hooked up with Sony on this, and what Sony does is, they're sort of learning is being the legacy studio and taking on all this debt and streaming service and stuff. Like, that sounds like it's going to make you more money, but it's a lot easier to be able to make deals with all the other studios and still control your own shit, which is what Sony does, and which is what Nintendo obviously is ripping off from Sony and doing. So I actually expect, like, after Zelda, if they announce another franchise, like a Metroid, I'd assume would happen at some point. I actually think it would be with a third studio. So they'll have like a studio, they'll have franchises at any studio at different studios basically, unless Sony does their job right, which I think it's on Sony now to convince them to do another live action thing. I'm not sure what that, I guess Mega Man's Capcom, right? Mega Man's not owned by Nintendo. But I think it would probably go, if I'm not the biggest, I know you don't come here for gaming content, but I'd imagine they probably, you know, Mario, Zelda, I believe Metroid would be third. I don't know what would be under that. You guys can talk, believe in there, down there. But whoever does have Mega Man probably should do something with it at this point. But we'll see what happens. There isn't a studio involved. Avi Arad is a super powerful producer, so I'm sure he would get this going. We'll see what happens with Wes Ball in terms of like if he's going to do more Apes movies or he'll do this. I think this is a real chance and a real has a real chance of being a pretty monumental franchise if you're able to do it. But we'll see. But it is interesting that how Nintendo did this, like no one saw it coming, and Nintendo just sort of dropped it, like, oh yeah, we're doing like this Zelda movie with Sony, and here's the producers' rights, here you go. Like they really just like threw that out there. So I expect like Nintendo's going to keep that, especially with like, where's the Mario 2 announcement? That movie's huge, and there hasn't been one. I'm surprised. What's going on there? Do you remember that Catfish guy was supposed to make a Mega Man movie? I do remember that. What happened there? All right, so the Inside Out 2 trailer came out, was it this week? I forget. Came out since the last show. Will is there? Sorry. Will can sing the praises of West Ball. I didn't see you there, Will. All right. Inside Out 2, the trailer came out, and we both found out who the new emotion is going to be and who's going to replace Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling. I heard some rumors that they might have sealed up those deals, and those are rumors because that's not true. So the new emotion is Anxiety, voiced by Maya Hawke, which that sounds fine. We kind of got a quick thing. It looked fun. I'm totally not sure about this movie. I think Pete Docter wouldn't let, he's running the studio, so I don't think he'd let a bad sequel come out to one of his movies. I think he would try to keep this pretty quality, but they did lose Bill Hader as Fear and Mindy Kaling as discussed, mainly because of Amy Poehler was offered $5 million to reprise her role with participation bonuses, and they were not really offered much of a raise. I don't know if that's an agent thing and they would have worked it out anyway. People are a little surprised they couldn't convince Bill Hader to come back. It might have just been a schedule, like their schedule. They do have busy schedules and they have a lot of stuff, but I think they, that was their choice. I was a little surprised they didn't just pay them out. Like, if you're going to give Amy Poehler $5 million, it's like, why not just give the other people? That also sucks. Did Lewis Black get fucked on this deal? That's like the one thing I was like, wait, what happened? How much did Lewis Black get paid if like these other people bounced? But Tony Hale, which is a boring as hell choice, to be honest with you. I like Tony Hale, but like guys and everything, and Lisa Laparina is discussed. So whatever, it was a bit of a shock. I think this will be a solid earner for Pixar, and they kind of need a hit right now, and on Disney and all that stuff. So I'm sure it'll do very well. Whether it'll be good or not, we'll see. But I kind of don't think Pete Docter would let them make a bad one. All right, we're gonna do a bunch of trailers. But before let's do two things and then trailers. One is there's the Mystery Science Theater Thanksgiving Marathon, or Turkey Marathon, I should say, is running from November 23rd to the 25th. So it's going to be running extra long. I don't think they've done that since the 90s, extra long period. So check that out if you can. As well as, and this is an interesting story, a guy got trapped in a movie theater for 5 hours because he fell asleep watching The Exorcist Believer, and he woke up and it was like 2 a.m. And when he walked out, no one was there. I checked out his TikToks. He filmed this. This is a real story. Everyone says they would have stolen candy. He was like, no, I'm not going to steal candy. I didn't want to get caught in 4K, basically. He did find an emergency exit and was able to get out, but he was basically I think it was an AMC all by himself. I've always had the fear that I'm going to fall asleep in a movie and then the credits would roll. I never thought I've never heard of, but it's like people who work in movie theaters don't get paid super well. So no, he got out. There was an emergency. He found a way to get out, by the way. People who work in movie theaters don't get paid enough, so I don't really blame them. I just think it probably happened. It was the last show, and they're like, when it's over, just we can all leave and stuff like that. But yeah, apparently this happened. There was a bit of a controversy that like you could hear he had ice in his cup, and he was like, I don't know how I. He was basically like, I don't know why my ice was still there, dude. Like I think they had coolers in the cup holders. I don't know, but to me, it's like that could totally happen. It it was interesting to watch, but I was like, wow, I'd never heard of that. That's an interesting one. Although part of me, like, here's the thing: if I got trapped in a movie theater, I would, you know, I don't think I'd steal stuff, but I would walk in every theater and then I would leave. That would be that would be my dorky like, oh, this is theater one, interesting. This is theater two, cool. Let's check out theater three. Ooh, what's the IMAX like? And then I would maybe see if I could get in the projection booth and play something. But after that, I would see. It would be hard to leave. That would be my biggest issue. Is I was like, I mean, I'm already here, so like, can I play something through my phone on the projector? Would I look into it? I think I would. I think I would. So, wait. Sinram slept through Rise of Gru? Wow. Wow. Oh, you missed the entire ending. Okay. I want to know, has anyone missed the entire... But yeah, you should look up this story. Check it. Maybe I'll post the TikTok on the Discord after this. And before let me do... Oh, there is one thing I wanted to talk about for an obit. One, I think there's other people type, but there's one obit I do want to talk to. Okay, I think we could actually get to everything. This is going to run long, I can tell you that. In New Hampshire, Dover, New Hampshire made a manhole cover tribute to TMNT. It actually looks really, really cool. And they made a sign in tribute to the creators of TMNT. So if you're ever in Dover, New Hampshire, go check that out. Supposedly, Amazon is going to make a Masters of the Universe movie. Again, this goes under the logic, and I mentioned this earlier, so this works within this, is that, even though, like, I think when it was canceled on Netflix, it was like it had so much debt already, that production, that it was, like, kind of unfeasible whenever it ended up. But I think Amazon bought MGM, and so obviously they're like, this is a major property, so it sort of like works out. It should be at a studio like that if it's ever going to happen. So apparently Amazon is going to move forward with the Master Universe thing. I think they're the only one who could do it because it's going to be expensive, and it has to be for a studio that really doesn't care about money. Okay, I've definitely gotten sleepy. I haven't really fallen asleep. I kept getting sleepy in Blade Runner 2049, but I don't think when I rewatched it, I didn't miss anything. I never really fallen asleep. I've definitely gotten sleepy, and then I get sort of end up being in this kind of sleepy state watching a movie. I don't think I've fallen asleep in a theater. My dad fell asleep when we saw Meeting People is Easy at a film festival, and he slept through that, though. The Radiohead movie. I actually saw it during its festival run. I don't get to do that. All right, so this is the trailer section. Then I think we will take a break soon. I'm sorry. This is definitely going to be a longer... There's no way this cannot be a longer show. I mean, it's like almost impossible. It's pretty wild. Okay, so trailers. There's been a lot of them, but let's try to go through as many as possible. The Merry Little Batman trailer. This is apparently... they kept saying a movie. I thought it was just a special, but like a movie of an animated Batman kind of Christmas thing. It looks kind of fun with Batman and Damian Wayne. I like the design. It reminds me of the Aquaman cartoon, if you remember that. I mean, again, bad move for Max to just like dump this to another studio, but I guess it made them some money or whatever. We got the Mean Girls musical trailer. I think as the trailer went on, I liked it more because I like it more when these things show their own personality. And I guess they had to establish like, oh, it's Mean Girls, we have to reference some things. But I didn't hear like any songs. I don't know. The thing with this movie is this was very much a movie that was supposed to go to Paramount Plus, and then the strike happened. They saw there was openings, and they moved it to theatrical. So like, it's a January movie, so there's that. I actually didn't mind the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire trailer. I think some people really didn't like it. I thought it reminded me more of the cartoon, which I still maintain. I think I mentioned this on Twitter or other places, that it reminds me that more people are nostalgic for the cartoon than the actual movies. I think the cartoon is what people are nostalgic for with the Ecto Cooler. Like Ecto Cooler is to promote the cartoon. Like the action figures were there to promote the cartoon. Like the reason you know Slimer is because of the cartoon. Like it's, and I think the reverence they put on the movie is because of the cartoon. And this reminded me of the cartoon, so I thought that was cool. And it's directed by the guy who did Monster House, who's now the chat will get mad I didn't remember. Maybe Jim didn't mind because he's dead, probably. TuneJ723 said, "Isn't that this isn't your mother's Mean Girls?" Oh my god, that was such a good. I did like that line. Cheers to you. We also had the Avatar trailer, which you can spend as much money as you want. It just looks like a bland cover. Like I just think it's a bland cover of a better show. Like it reminds me, like, oh, I should watch season 1 with my daughter in a few years. Like that's what I think when I watch that stuff. I'm like, oh, I should watch the original. And people are like, yeah, but people keep maintaining when I write these things and say these things are like, but it exposes it to a new audience. And I'm like, yeah, but why do I want that audience? Like that audience, like watch the cartoon. How about you promote the cartoon to a new audience? Like, why does animation always have to like step down to people's level in fucking live action and be like a worse product to appeal to new audiences? Like, I don't agree with that whatsoever. I just like, they can all look like the same kind of people and you can get all the shots right, but like what is the point of it? Like I never understood why this obsession with making Avatar live action. Like it is an animated show. Like just make more of the animated thing. Like make another animated thing. I just think it's stupid. I just don't get it. I'm not interested. Anyway, there was the Madam Web trailer, which looks like pretty odd and funny. I don't know. The more I watched it again, and it has definite like Venom energy with that. It definitely looks like kind of bad but good. But like the thing was like he was with my mom in the jungle researching spiders right before she died. Was that the the Dakota Johnson line? That was pretty amazing. I don't know. I'm sort of into that. Where else? What other ones? Oh, the Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. I am like, wow, I can't wait to get drunk and fall asleep to that after I do some Christmas dishes. That is a prime, oh, I'm going to fall asleep to this shit and then wake up and be like, what's going on? Where are we in this Seven Samurai thing? Who's the cooler one and the reasonable one? What's going on? Like, I don't know. It looks like it could be fine, like Army of the Dead and stuff like that, but I'm just like, what? I don't think anyone cares. The Chicken Run trailer looks legitimately fun. Aardman is so good at doing good slapstick movies, and this looks like a solid slapstick movie, so I think that'll be good. What If Season 2, my biggest issue with the What If show is they're supposed to be disconnected from one another, kind of like one-off little fun writing experiments, and like their whole like let's have continuity in What If thing like really stinks. Like just like stop doing that. Like it's awful. I don't like the design either. I'm just like not feeling this. I want to preface, I did not actually get to watch this and I wanted to. But back when the Best Animated Feature did not just have big studios behind it, there was the Chico and Rita, which I reviewed way back whenever, was one of the films nominated, and those people have a new animated film called They Shoot the Piano Player. Jeff Goldblum investigates a jazz genius murder, which sounds kind of cool. So it's an animated film. It's about jazz and music and stuff like that. If you did get to see Chico and Rita, I don't think anyone remembers the long ago where they used to let like smaller animated films get into that category. But if you do, They Shoot the Piano Player sounds kind of cool. I'm sure it comes out at a time where a million movies are coming out, but it sounds like a cool movie. I need to actually sit down with that trailer. I got to watch some of it and then like I couldn't. And so I just wanted to mention it because I feel like that will get forgotten given everything that's going on. All right. So I wanted to give one obit to, it does okay. I like that people say it's cool. So a major kind of figure, and I know I'm a Jaws fan. I follow the Daily Jaws. I actually retweeted their thing about this guy, Roger Castle. Roger Castell, who drew the original Jaws poster, died today. He has passed away at the age of 91. That is, I have a T-shirt of it. Maybe I should have worn it tonight. But I don't think there is a summer that poster isn't everywhere. It is maybe the most iconic film poster. I think it is one of the greatest film posters of all time. I think he did an amazing job. He also did the poster for Empire Strikes Back, which is another iconic movie poster. Not just because of what those movies are, like everyone knows what that is. As my son, every time I wear that shirt, he always says that's Daddy Shark. But he hasn't seen Jaws yet. But I gotta say, it is a poster I love. I love Jaws. There's so much artistry in terms of that movie, and like I've seen that poster on T-shirts, on walls, on when they put out the beer that Robert Shaw drank, everywhere. So a true legend in poster art, and really deserves his due. You should check out a video. I'm sorry I bring up my Twitter a lot. I'm just like, that's where I post and stuff. I hope that's not annoying, but I did retweet him going through various parodies of his poster, and he seems like a generally cool guy. I've actually heard he's pretty cool. One trivia is no one actually knows where the original print of the Jaws poster is. No one knows. It disappeared at some point. No one's found it since. So that is a real thing. I don't know if you knew that. That's a Jaws fact. All right, so I'm going to go to the bathroom. Then we're going to do Wassup as a segment. Then Scavengers, which is the short film pilot for Scavengers Reign, and then we will do questions. I think this is probably going to wrap up at 10:40 at this point, just because there was a lot in here. So I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I might try to do these. I don't know if I can do these earlier. It was kind of like a rush to get where we are tonight, but I will try, because I know I understand that this is late on a weeknight for all you guys. So, but I want to thank you all very much for being here, and I don't know, I really appreciate you guys and everything like that. This would work better in the Discord. What do you mean? Oh, like the video? I can post that video too. Maybe I'll post 2 videos in the Discord after this. Anyway, I'll be right back. I have the not plausible as the original one. Oh my god. Anyway, I'll be right back after this little break, and then we'll do those and do questions. And thank you all for being here, and I'll see you in a couple minutes. All right, cool. Bye. Sorry, not bye, but like, you know what I mean. I'll be right back. Sorry. After these messages, I'll be right back. Hello, how's it going? I don't know if anyone noticed this. Let me bring up my monitor. But I'm probably gonna. Here, I'll show you. So my mom kept this from when I was a kid, just because she thought it was really cool, and it has these like discs in it of like pictures, and I'm gonna at some point take videos of each of the videos as like a preservation thing. But it like projects like how do I like I can't really show you. Will it show on the thing? Yeah, it projects a little thing. Well, that anyway doesn't you can't see it, but it projects a little thing on the wall, and I'm gonna film this eventually. But my mom had hid this for like 20 years and was like, you know what? I think, and she mailed it to me. I was like, I felt like you should have it now, so I'm gonna film this at some point. But anyway, that's the deal with that. Wait, is there a? Sorry, I was talking. Austin says, thank you, Carl. Is going to be a really cool show. You're not reviewing. I can only take so much embarrassment. Also, should have been the thumbnail. I see the thing. Okay, first off, cheers to you, Austin. I think it's a better show to talk about because I think if I showed the picture, no one would know what it is yet. I've noticed like when I bring up the Carl element. Anyway, cheers to you. I think we will know of it at the show that does the thing, but I agree to a certain point. But yeah. Yeah. No, this is from the cartoon. This is from the Fox cartoon. It has all the things from the cartoon. The 90s cartoon, by the way. All right. What's a possibility? Oh yeah. Where are we going with this? All right. I'm going to talk about the Wassup beer ad. So the deal with why I'm doing this is because I recently reviewed Drumline, and why do I not have his fucking name? What? I recently Wassup ad campaign. I recently reviewed the movie Drumline, and because of that, I was reminded, because the director of Wassup, Charles Stone III, directed Drumline, and I remembered reading about him back in the day and hearing about how he, had all these ideas for films, and this was going to help him make more movies. And I didn't really hear anything about him after that. And then when I reviewed Drumline, I was like, oh my God, this is like his first big Hollywood movie, pretty much. So that is actually sort of true. So the deal with this movie, the deal with this ad is this. If you hadn't heard of it, it's basically a bunch of guys call each other and go, "What's up?" on the phone, and several more pick up on the phone, and somebody calls on the intercom, and like it's all these guys like screaming, "What's up?" I go, "Just watching the game, having a bud, true." And it's just kind of like how guys sort of talk to each other, how guys are like always like, just like screaming, going punch it, and then not really saying anything. I thought it was like a really interesting way about male friendship and friendship in general, how you can like scream and be so happy to see someone, and then just say like really like, yep, just life, man. And I think that's like what has always been really cool about this. I know many people talk about like them going like, "What's up?" and like that kind of thing. He even says that the main point was like his friends and him always like these kind of like weird, absurd kind of humor, and like that was sort of the joke, was like making Wassup like this ridiculous sort of thing was like part of the joke. But I don't even know if it plays like that. I think it plays very like sort of normal and calm and stuff like that. Like you're seeing your friend, you have like your own kind of like greeting and stuff. I think most people now know it more for Scary Movie than for the actual ad. It actually first came out as a short film called True, and then it played film festivals, and he played it for various executives and ad executives, and then it was remade actually. This is the second version, became the beer ad And I've always kind of liked it. It did have kind of like a low down like film festival vibe. Even the Budweiser one is, if you want to watch the original short film, that was one thing, but the it feels a little rougher. But the Budweiser one still maintains that indie film quality, which I think Charleston the Third should get some respect for that. Um, and then it became a huge ad campaign. There's sequels and stuff, and I don't know. I just like it shows a certain director's willingness to tell stories and tell characters, that he's able to kind of reflect a very kind of like universal feeling of saying that joy of seeing someone, the joy of connecting with someone over a Budweiser or screaming "Was Up" and stuff like that. Now, there have been a lot of sequels to this as well, and and this is a bit of a surprise. I know I'm like playing fast and loose with this, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So there have been a lot of sequel ads to this, including one about like wasabi and stuff. But the one that Charles Stone III definitely did was the one in 2008, which was sort of an Obama ad, but also the country is fucked up ad, which now sounds like a joke to me because the country's even worse now. But it's the same thing with all his friends. His friend calls him. One guy is in Iraq. The one guy who is Charles Stone III, who's the main guy in it, is actually Charles Stone III, who's the director, is losing his home. Another one of his friends has severely broken his arm and needs painkillers. Another guy is watching the economy fall apart and tying a noose, and then hangs himself. And then another one is outside calling on the intercom, and this is a real thing. You can look it up. And there's a hurricane going on, and everything's falling apart. And then at the end, it's saying like, just watching the game true. He says there's change, and it's Obama, and Obama's supposed to save them. Even though one of his friends kills himself, I think another explodes, and then another like goes away on a hurricane. Anyway, it is my favorite sequel to to Was Up, because it is like fucking balls to the wall. Like let's just like burn down this franchise to make a political ad. Yeah, it is a real thing. When this is a separate video, there'll be clips of it, but it is a real thing. Look it up. I have to post a lot of things in I'll post this all in the Discord, I guess, after this. But yeah, it is a real thing. They really did do this with the original cast, to support Obama. But yeah, it is hardcore. Like, I've never seen a political ad. I don't think Obama, like, the campaign, like, asked them to do this. I think they just went, we're gonna do this, which I think is amazing. Like, it is just like yeah, in 8 years, this is how bad it's gotten. One of my friends is gonna die in Iraq. Another is going to hang themselves because of the Great Recession. I am losing my home. My friend his arm's broken. I don't know. Maybe Bush just came to his house and broke his arm. It is really, really pretty out there, but I love the, like, it's almost like the Clerks 2 of Was Up, where like it's super relatable, and like you're like, wow, that really takes me back to, like, you know, me in my 20s, or I remember that era, or I'm just like that. And then you see the sequel, and like, I don't know how we got there, but I really respect how crazy this one is. And like, I don't know if it's the most effective a political ad, but it makes me, anytime I've watched, like, because when I watched Drumline and went back into the Was Up canon, I watched some of the sequels, and they're like fine. It sort of does the same thing but lesser. But this is the one I'm like, I'm just fascinated by, that everyone was like, you know what we really gotta do is make it seem like how horrible everyone's lives would be. Is just kudos to you. I would like, what did Obama think of this? Did he see it? I wonder. I don't know. I don't know where it aired either. Was it just an internet thing? Ah, man. Probably, I want to say, my favorite thing Charles Stone directed in this order is the Was Up ad, the sequel, and then, you know what? Maybe Drumline after that. Right now, although I've only, to my understanding, seen those three things. But I really did love the sequel, but I do love how relatable, how relatable, and how smartly done all the characters and the Was Up ad is. I think it deserves a lot of respect for the amount of love it brings those characters, and the love of male friendships that is not, negative or toxic or any of those things. It's just like dudes saying hey. And I think in certain points, like that's everyone can relate to seeing your friends or talking to them on the phone and just screaming stupid shit and then just talking about life. And I think probably never been a more relatable beer ad ever. I should do more beer ad. I should do the Budweiser frogs. I used to love the Budweiser frogs. By the way, this is not a boomer meme. It's definitely maybe Gen X. I don't think it's a boomer. Probably is. Whatever. I'm old. All right. Sinrab, again with the generosity, Sinrab. I really got to thank you tonight. Cheers to you. Said, wasn't there a soft drink that called itself the real thing? I believe there was. And cheers to you. We're definitely running along tonight. Dude, my head hurts now. Sorry. All right. Oh, I love Spud McKenzie. I used to have a shirt that was too small for me. And I don't know if I still have it of Spud McKenzie. Man, they used to make so many cool beer ads for me as a kid. The 80s. All right. They had Elvira. They're really like... They had Joe Camel. Man, advertising was fucked up in the 80s. That's, unlike now, I guess. Okay. So now I'm going to talk about Scavengers. Now, what is Scavengers? Scavengers is the pilot short film for the show Scavengers Reign, which I've been a huge fan of. I'm going to have a review out soon of that, hopefully at the end of this week. But Scavengers was a short that aired on Adult Swim or on Toonami in the Adult Swim block or whatever in 2016. It has no dialogue, and it is probably the earliest example of a kind of a very early version of what we later see in Scavengers Reign. This was originally in 2018. They tried to expand this story because they know it aired on Toonami and make it into a series, but it did not get picked up by Adult Swim. It then got picked up by Max, which seems like this and Fired on Mars have a similar trajectory, as well as shows that you're confused why they didn't force them to go on Adult Swim and how they ended up on Max, and they're both space exploration shows. That's so weird to me. I don't know. So there are certain things that are different. I do think the design is a lot rougher than the more refined design of Scavengers Reign. It's a little more sketchier, things of that nature. It's a little less defined in terms of that, but it's effectively like the same thing. You'll notice like certain elements in there, as well as things that are different. One thing is the ship is not called the Demeter, it's called the Vesta 1 on this. And in this, it seems to be like they were supposed to colonize this planet. Something happened to the ship, and they're on the planet. So it's a little different from in the show where the ship is like, we don't fully know, but it was hit, we assume was hit by a solar flare and just wound up on this planet on the way to something else. It is very trippy, like the show and stuff like that. But there's no dialogue, but we see two people who seem to be rough versions of the characters of Ursula and Sam. We don't get anybody else, just those two. And we see them like kind of go through this planet and deal with this world and deal with this like kind of the weird plants on there. We even have them deal with the little alien in the plant that I think Ursula sees in Scavengers Reign and does this kind of beautiful thing. In this, like we see the same weird alien guy, but they just give them like sort of a gem, and we see them trying to go on some mission to basically find, like, Scavengers Reign is very good at being like very strange and weird and surprising, which is something I really like about it. But this is truly interesting because she's two people who are stuck on this planet and they go through this journey, which you assume is for food, but isn't really for food. It's just so they can like find this weird like space whale and space like stingray basically, and then you see them be able to get like this weird stuff, and then ended up like just sort of like tripping on this weird juice that makes them feel like they're back on Earth again. And I think that's like kind of the sadness of the desperation of space and stuff like that. But I like that there's a point to it. I like there's no dialogue, and I like all the various creatures. There's this weird head, an alien that's basically like a head and legs, and that's like it. And it is that is really weird. There's a lot of like strangers with the plants, with the this. It was very out there, and I really like that about it. It does very much play like an interesting pilot, an interesting short film. Um, but you can sort of tell, some of it they would be used with K-Man later, some with this, some with that. But I think it shows people who are willing to show a surprising way of an alien world, like a constant like reinventing the rules. Like why have a weird stingray in the sky? Why have a weird alien head thing? It's like, I think what I like about Scavengers Reign in this world is it's always surprising, which I think this short film definitely has within it. And I don't think there's a way you can tell this story without being as surprising. I think it works better that way. I like this short. I think if you watch the show, it works. But I think if you haven't watched the show, it's still a really interesting, impressive science fiction short. And I think what I like about this franchise in total is it's a sci-fi thing that surprises me, is extra human, but also incredibly surreal in ways that I thought sci-fi had given up on, to do more of like this dark, broody, I can't see anything phase. This is like you can see everything, but you know nothing about this alien world that will come up and infect you and change you with the plant life that you don't fully understand. And I think Scavengers takes on that kind of that world and that view, and kind of introduces you in the way and shows you much like a good pilot would, that there could be more to this. But it also, I think, works as just like an interesting, odd sort of jam drawing-y short film. So even if you just thought what I said or seeing this footage at the same time and think that looks cool, and you are not fully sold on watching a full show of Scavengers Reign, it can work as just an individual short. And I think it says about like kind of the survival of man and how he simply gets through the day, even if you're dealing with all the craziness that's seen with this, all the craziness of an alien world that you don't fully understand. Everything's changing around you, and you can't fully control what's going to happen. Okay, let's. I'm gonna have some of this. It is late, so I'm going to do the Patreon questions, and we'll do some questions after this. Questions below this. Okay, so you want to ask questions. I'm not sure how many I'll get to because we are kind of running long. But Nathaniel Foga asks, what is a film that got canceled that you really wish was made? I think Del Toro's In the Mountains of Madness, which got close. I think Tom Cruise is involved. Why did that get canceled? I would also, I used to be very curious about James Cameron's Spider-Man, but I would say even the Porky's remake that didn't happen, that shot for a week, I've always wondered, like, how bad was that footage? I've always wondered. I should make a video on that. Let me see. Oh, Austin said, "Hey Jim, what is a great?" Sorry, Austin asks, "Hey Jim, what a great show! Thank you for the birthday wishes." So, question is inspired by something you said to me in our interview. What is a movie soundtrack that would be greatly improved if you took out one song? You can't say the SpongeBob movie. That is my typical answer. If I could take out one song from a movie soundtrack. That is a good question. And make it. I've seen that there's this YouTube channel I watch called Culturalist Theory, and they do like sort of a ranking of a rap and R&B artists albums, but they have a new short series where they go through like how to make such and such a classic, and they like delete songs and move around orders to make it. And I thought that was interesting. I've thought about this with some movie soundtracks. I would reorder certain things. I mean, I know with the Barbie soundtrack, a lot of people don't like the Charlie XCX song, but I actually do. So, whatever. I would actually say, well, one, I mean, I wouldn't mind a more. The Lost Highway soundtrack's cool, but I feel like what stops me from listening to that album, and I listened to a lot, was all the weirder Angelo Badalamenti thing. I think it should be like sort of separate, two separate scores, like a soundtracky one and a score one. I would almost say. Well, I would say there should be always more George Clinton in the second Trolls because I only think there's a little bit. I think that would be it. I'm gonna go with the Lost Highway thing. I think the Angela Badalamenti should have been separate because I love Smashing Pumpkins Eye a lot. Perfect Drug's cool. The Rammstein stuff is cool, but it should have been separate. Like it's just like it really stops me from like I'm just like not ever in the mood for that full thing. I would also say maybe some of the Batman Forever and no, doesn't Batman and Robin the soundtrack have the Jewel Foolish Game song? Yeah, cut that out. Let's say that one. Okay. Sorry, that took me a minute. Jordan Bouchard, what are some of your favorite adult animated series? I mean, there's a lot, but I'd say present. I mean, Scavengers Reign presently, Fire and Mars presently, Aqua Teen. I've been wanting to rewatch Bob and Margaret, and I'll probably review the short at some point. So I'd say those. I did watch Spicy City by Ralph Bakshi recently, and I didn't really get to review it, and that was kind of interesting. I wouldn't say that's a favorite. The Max, I think those are some good ones. Okay, so Sinram, who's very generous tonight, and I want to read this whole question because it's a good one. Said you should all follow his YouTube channel, subscribe as well. Said Justine Bateman does not believe that the protections for actors regarding the use of AI recreations are adequate. It seems like the new contracts don't allow for an actor to veto the use of an artificial performer based on their likeness in previous work. Only the actor would be given notice that a synthetic performer would be used. Apparently, this wouldn't stop a production from using multiple flesh and blood actors from being used as data in the creation of brand new composite performers. That is true. My question is, can we simply start calling these synthetic characters Bishop after the Lance Hendricks character in Aliens? Sure. I like how that devolved into silliness. That's pretty cool. So what he's saying is true. I believe if they're using it for it, they can't. But if like they say James Dean's going to be in this, they have to pay the estate. So I believe under this rule, they do not have to pay the estate if they use it to make a new person. But yeah, that is distressing. But yeah, they should call them bishops. Foolish Batman games. All right. Where did I say that thing? Okay. Zane Powers asks, any comment about the allegations on the relations to Tommy Tubi to Tommy Tuberville? Okay, first off, Tommy Tubi has said many times that fuck that other guy. That guy's a waste of space, and Tommy Tubi's just trying to do his job with film acquisitions and doesn't need the negativity of the bad relationships of Tuberville. He can get the fuck out. Cornbread asks, wanted to ask this around the October stream. Other questions took priority. When do you recommend putting seasonal or topical segment suggestions in the Discord? Always mess that up. I would say if you want for Christmas, the thing is I try to do ones like tonight. These are two kind of related to things that are both coming out and one I did. So sometimes I do priority in that just because that's sort of where I'm at. And I know like I don't think I do Wassup again. And I didn't really have a Thanksgiving one. But if you have some Christmas ideas, I'm okay to listen to them. You can always suggest stuff. I think if you're doing Christmas should be now. But think of also, I guess, if you're suggesting for segments, I guess I'm being a little serious here. But with the segments, think they have to come out later. So if it's like the stream that's right before Christmas, you're probably too late at that point because I don't really like to hold segments that long. But it depends. You can always put it in there. I do hold on, like the Scooby-Doo segment I held for a year. So I would say if you're doing Christmas ones, try to do them a few weeks early. Because then they will get me into videos later, I guess. I hope that answers that. I feel like I'm a little sleepy now. Talking for 2 hours. Austin, so would you ever do an update? Wait, Sorry. So would you ever do an update for every shows ever that's come out after? Also, did you know your every PBS kids show is kids YouTube and you can't comment on it? Yes, I did find that out. Wasn't thrilled about that. I don't know why that happened. I kind of just let it go. Yeah. I don't think I do an update. I thought about that at certain points. I sort of just let it go because I can't. It's not feasible. But I need to do an every show ever soon. There's one I need to, need to do. Zane Powers, what's your opinion on Avi Arad as a producer and his overall track record? I think he's a shitty person, basically. I think he's an opportunist and life has worked out for him. Ace the Windrider, did you see Blade? I hear he's working the duck shooting gallery at the carnival. I actually haven't. I've watched the first Blade, but I've never seen the sequels. And if we really get a trailer and no Blade is for real happening, I do actually want to try to review all three before I see the new one. That's kind of my plan at least. 2J723 should have there been a home improvement revival. I'm pretty sure they should, because anytime they do a polling on what classic sitcom should be revived, Home Improvement always gets number one. So I'm surprised they haven't. Not plausible. Do you agree that Pratt would be a good normal? He's vain, the antithesis of Garfield, and everyone loves him. I mean, I don't know if everyone loves him, but yeah, he probably would. Black Saxon Winkle. You can't remake any 80s movie. You can remake any 80s movie, but starring Kevin James. Which one are you remaking? I think actually he would probably do well in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But let's do it funnier, and it's Pretty in Pink, and he's Molly Ringwald, and everybody else is the same. Question, hey, so Andrew Garfield has been crying. This is from Cornbread. Andrew Garfield has been crying in my kitchen for half an hour about you not remembering him in Del Toro Frankenstein. What do you think about Del Toro's Frankenstein? I think Mia Goth is going to be so good in that movie. I'm so excited for her. And the other cast members, but I'm not excited for Andrew Garfield. He can get fucked. I'm sure he'll be decent in it or whatever. Good luck to you, Garfield. Why was he not in the Garfield movie? All right. Question from Super Dusky. I suggest you watch Joe Panera Talks to You, and I was wondering if you ever had a chance to check it out. I haven't, and I have been suggested to watch it. I just never have don't have a lot of time, but thank you for suggesting again. Thanofoga, favorite Thanksgiving dish? I am a mashed potatoes diehard, as everyone knows from the knockwurst turtle thing. And that's not a joke. I fucking love it. Although my wife's Brussels sprouts dish is fucking great. Zane Powers, how come every time a video game movie comes out and it gets mediocre critical scores, I have to hear people go on about how critics are dumb and don't listen to them, just audience scores? I don't know. I think the problem, like I said with video games, is like they need to not let the publishers dictate or the companies dictate so much. I think what happens is there's so much anticipation and the critics don't care about that. And so I think there is a bit of a disrespect in that. But at the same time, like, I think after the initial wave and after the initial viewing, people should sort of get over themselves. Black Saxon Winkle, are you a stuffing in the bird guy or out of the bird guy? I think we do it out of the bird. I don't know. I'm watching the kids. I'm not really cooking as much this one. Zane Powers, are you excited for when Oscar finds his... I'm not reading that, but thank you for that one. I mean, we live in Brooklyn. I don't think that's going to happen. Zane Powers, you're lucky I have a good sense of humor. Nathaniel Foga, how many more years do you think it'll be before Sadslot gets booted? I think when he sells it... Sorry, go up. I think when he sells the company to Universal or Paramount. Cornbread, there's always been a heavy speculation that Captain America 4 has been pushed back so far due to them getting cold feet due to recent world events and the film heavily featuring Sabra thoughts. I've heard that, but I'm assuming that's probably also due to the massive reshoots. Nathaniel Foga, is it hip to be square? Always. Favorite season of Acme Shelved? I would say either season 1 or I like the last season. Good amount. Not plausible. Can we hear your best Lorenzo Music Garfield impression? I guess like, I hate Mondays. Where's my lasagna? I guess I don't know. Let me just do a couple from the people who haven't gotten to ask questions, and then we'll go. Are you said Kevin Bacon? Okay, yeah, I heard this. Kevin Bacon doesn't have bacon thing. That's, I mean, that's some bullshit right there. Why is there? Oh, okay. Well, I answered those, I thought. Okay, well, thank you. Okay, that was. It's weird. Okay. Sorry, the chat confused me. Christian Gutierrez, when you and Ian Jones Cordy went to SVA together, did you ever meet Rebecca? Is this a real question? Rebecca Sugar in person there with Ian. Okay. No, I didn't know about her, and I don't think Ian did either until after we were graduated. So, I mean, I was working there at the time, but I don't think we heard about her until after we graduated. But I mean, I've met her. Does you not know that they're like? Anyway, yeah, I've met her before. I guess is what I meant. Do you know that they're like married and stuff? I'm confused by that question. All right, but yes, a long time ago. I haven't seen her since 2009, I guess. But she was nice then. I don't know. Remy Herika Shrine, I think. Have you had thoughts of doing a new web series like the old days? I mean, I do have Film Rat Video, which is going to have a new thing. I'm fairly certain before the end of the year. So that's kind of my only web series chart type thing. I'll answer Austin's question at the end. Okay. I'll answer Zane Powers because he did a super chat. Whose turtle was that turtle in the Knockforce video? That was my turtle, Trevor. If you can see the Goodbye Turtle video on my channel, Trevor was my turtle from 2004 to 2009. I had to give her up. I didn't know it was a girl till later because I don't know how to gender turtles. But she was just too big and she got to go to a turtle sanctuary. But she was my turtle. I basically saved her because she was this big and she would have just like died with all these little turtles. So she got to have a long life, and I was really proud of that. I wish I could have saved more turtles, actually. But yeah, she was mine. But I think there's also... Oh, thank you, Remu Harigo Shrine. There's other cartoons I'm sort of developing, but you'll learn more about that in the future, I hope. Zane Powers, this will be the final thing, and I really should go. We've gone way over. Said, when will you stop dodging your no nostalgia critic November loss? You're bringing shame to everyone who dedicated themselves to the event. Cheers to you, Zane Powers. Okay, first off, you tricked me, and that's some bullshit. All right, I did not. I feel like you should organically. If you're gonna trick me like that, I did not fall for no nostalgia critic. Thank you, Remiko. November, that is some bullshit. I'm not gonna go on about that, but yeah. But yeah, no, we met her later, but Rebecca was there. We were all at the same SVA, but we were all probably in school at the same time, but I don't think we met her till after. But anyway, cheers to you, Zane Powers. Cheers to you all. It was a successful show. I don't think we'll ever go this late. It was just because, like, an epic amount of news, a truly epic amount of news. All right, so I want to say thank you all. I didn't hear about the Apple TV thing. Doesn't okay. You gotta wake up at 7. I don't want to tell you when I have to wake up, but anyway, I wanted to say good night to you all. Thank you for being here for the first Wednesday show. I know for sure there will be a show on the 13th of December. I'm not exactly sure. I'm very sorry I don't have a good date on that, but I think there might be one on the 26th or something like that. I think that'll be more of a surprise loosey-goosey stream, but there'll definitely be one on the 13th. I'm sorry about the looseness of that. I want to thank you all for enjoying the videos. Thank you everyone who might be watching this from watching the Brie Larson short. or through whatever means. Thank you for everyone who this is their first stream and everything like that. I should go make a post whatever videos I'm supposed to post in the Discord. Someone please remind me. But I want to thank you all for all your support, all your super chats, everyone who did. I very much thank you. And I will talk to you guys next time. Happy birthday to Austin. Happy birthday to Super Tedeschi. I think I said that right. Everyone have a good night. Happy Thanksgiving. And I will see you all next time. Good night and subscribe if you would like to.